stage properties for this unit, and starting with color. So everyone take one color information packet and go through it with the person next to you. I will give you 20 minutes and then I'll ask you a random question from the packet to make sure you've retained the information. We'll look at one or two examples and jump into the activity for the day. Question is, what are the diverse uses of color? Make a show more interesting, to add depth to a set 3D style, to show what time of day. Deeper meanings, display emotions and symbolism. View the examples in your packets. Pictures on page 2 have an example from Romeo and Juliet. Different colors, red and blue, symbolize the different houses. There's also the picture of the Nazi swastika. Red symbolizes the Nazis, also shapes our moods. Start thinking evil and bad. That leads into our activity. I'd like you to make a color wheel of emotions or moods. Write the words you come up with in each color you think it corresponds with. For example, in the red section you could put evil or bad, relating to the Nazi swastika. Are there any questions? Let's jump right into lighting then. Everyone take a lighting information packet. Question for today is, what are the 4 qualities of light? Intensity, distribution, color, and movement. Some examples of these. The first picture looks like there's a lot of movement with the blue lights. Maybe even the dots in the darker area are moving or are supposed to represent nighttime. Pink area on the stage really stands out, so it may be an important place to look at because it's being highlighted. The distribution of the blue and pink lighting is significant because the audience is a part of the blue and the pink light is pretty focused on the stage. Next example, this is a website. Might be very useful for lighting information and pictures. Looks like a lot of spotlight or strobe lighting. They use specific colors, a lot of reds and blues. Now you have a lot of examples to look at for your activity today. I would like you to pick a popular theater production that you would be able to find pictures online for lighting. Find these 2 different scenes in the production that have good examples of lighting, and bring those pictures to class. Describe them using what we've learned. Any questions? Today we'll be discussing paint. Go ahead and take a pack and go over it with your seat partner. Your question for today's topic, what materials should and should not be painted? Things that should, wood, backdrops, plywood. Things that should not, good wood, metal, curtains, sykes, and things that look good as they are. A couple of examples online. First here's shows how they painted the wood to look like nicer style of wood. Also, they painted their own cinder block wall, which is much cheaper and much lighter than a real one. That is one of the main benefits of painting. The second picture shows woods with painted trees, which looks really nice and is a lot easier than putting real trees on stage. Notice how nice the bridge looks. It's obviously painted, but really fits in the picture of the stage. Now we'll have an out-of-class activity. I would like you to set up a time to be in the scene shop. You must help paint for at least 1 hour or more. And from your packet, I would like you to get the sheet signed by the scene shop employee. Are there any questions? There's another information packet to look at. Today we'll be studying props. Okay, for the question today, how do props help or hurt a performance? They help a performance by emphasizing actions, making actions more realistic and understandable. They hurt a performance by distracting, being in the way, easy to drop and break, and cause problems for an actor. Some examples of props. First, there's the basic telling where the actors are, like in this picture. They're in a movie theater. They have basic props, but really tell the story well. This next picture shows how props that are very drastic could either help or hurt depending on how they are used. Mainly the headpiece may be pretty hard to see out of. Also, the outfit may be too distracting with the other equipment on stage. Our activity today will be improvised skits. I have a box of props you can pick from. You must use at least 1 prop, and please don't overdo it and confuse the audience. But please go ahead and be creative. Any questions? We have a scenery information packet today to look at. My question, what does scenery do for a production? It sets a time and place. It gives actors something to work with. It creates levels and gives details. Some examples. This could be a backdrop, or there could be some trees and a fence physically on stage. It looks pretty eerie and mysterious. This is pretty general in location, so it gives the actors a lot of options about how to use the scene. The next picture is showing a house near a wooded area and another house nearby. What's good about this picture is it is really basic, like a white model should look. That leads us into our activity today. I would like you to pick one scene from your favorite production. You'll make a white model for the scene. This picture here shows what one kind of white model looks like. It's very basic and in 3D structure and is the bare bones of a scene, which is what you will be making. Notice there are no colors and no props. I would like you to include any doors, windows, walls, stairs, or boundaries in your scene. Are there any questions? I have another packet of information for you to look through and keep. Today's is about costumes. My question is, what do costumes tell an audience? Time period, the character's social class, a little about the character's personality and cultural beliefs, and who the character is. Let's look at some pictures of costumes. What do you see in this first one from Year in Town? They really don't wear many vibrant colors, and they're workers in a lower class. The outfits make the characters look younger, like children, and some look older. Let's look at the next picture. This character looks old and ragged. He's dressed up in a grubby-looking suit, and he is holding an instrument, so we can tell he is a performer. So we can guess that he's also in the lower class as well. Let's get into our activity. I would like you to get into groups of 4. Together you will go to costuming either during our class or after sometime, but first you need to select production you want to work with. Then you can go select a set of costumes that will represent the characters from the production you have chosen. Just have them ready for the second review day so you can present them and explain why you picked those costumes for your characters. Are there any questions? Today, our final day on stage properties, we will be studying sound. So for the last time, just take information packet and begin reading. Your question on sound is, how could sound be used, or in what ways can it be used? We'll emphasize the actions on stage for shock value or to grab attention, like a gunshot. It could be music in the play, used as background music, or transitional music. If you'd open your book to page 375, you'll find a description of ways to use sound in a stage performance. Look through those, and then we will move on to the activity. Today, you will get into groups of 2. You will create your own sound for one of the productions listed on the board, and when you get into groups and decide on a production, come up to the board and write your name next to the show you want to make sound for. I would like you to make either music or sounds for 2 different scenes, so that means 2 different clips of sound. I'd like the length of each clip of music to be 1 to 2 minutes long, or throughout that time if you are just doing sounds. Any questions? Okay, this is a review and presentation day, starting with what we did on day 1 of stage properties. We learned about color, so go ahead and get out your color wheels and let's start presenting them. Looks like we move on to day 2, we work on lighting. Get out your pictures and descriptions of lighting for your scenes you chose. Moving on to day 3 with paint, so everyone has their scene shop page signed. Please bring those up to the table in front. And finally, for today's review, we worked on props. Let's do 1 or 2 more improv skits. Who would like to try? I'll provide the props when you come up here. Let's continue on a review and presentations day, starting with our scenery project from day 5. Go ahead and bring up your white models, explain what scene they are from, and describe your model briefly. Next, we talked about costumes. So each group wants to go grab their rack of clothes, and we'll start presenting them. And finally, we studied sound. Is everyone ready to present their music clips? Now that we've gone through the review of all the topics we've covered this unit, I would like you to apply your knowledge. The final project is to go and watch one of the school main stage theater productions. You will want to note things that you've noticed that we talked about this unit, and then put that information into a final paper and hand it in. I will give 2 weeks to hand in the paper since there's a production going on right now.